Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. We are speaking about the potential of the human mind, body, and spirit. We're doing so with medical doctor, trainer, and martial artist, as well as mentor, Dr. Wesley Dexter Shim, who recently had two karatekas trained by him in the top 10 of the Youth Awards. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to give us any secrets, but he joins us for a conversation now. Dr. Shim, how you do?
Hi, very well, thank you. It's
Very
great
glad
to be here.
Likewise, and I'm looking forward to this. And what goes through the mind of someone who's a world-class competitor, and then they decide, okay, well, I'm going to teach?
Well, I think it's a fairly natural progression in my case, certainly. As a young man, I started my karate some 53 years ago, about right while I was still in college in St. Mary's, and then continued it when I went to medical school, and even during my postgraduate years in the UK, I was on the karate team up there as well. So it moved from there into teaching, sharing something that I really love and really love doing. And for me, that was just a real natural progression. And that's...
Thank you so much. And there's some of the individuals that I know in the medical field doing other things as well. It seems as though they kind of put to bed the notion that you have to focus totally on this. Or let me ask you the question: how did being a karateka help you with your studies, help you and in the nascent stages of your medical career, even help you when you win the UK?
Yeah, this is very interesting because I think karate and sport, particularly in general, really helps you develop the ability to focus, to learn self-control and learn tenacity, that you don't give up on things very easily, as well as it trains you to keep a cool head in a hot situation. You know, on the mat, you're faced with a lot of hot situations, and you have to really be cool if you want to compete at a high level. And training is important, and that's, I think, one of the main things that I see as, it helps with human development. And for me, I just want to add that, I met my wife in karate. So karate gave me not only self-discipline and self-development, but also, a life and a partner for life.
That's really a blessed thing. And I guess there's nothing that can help you to develop the practice of mindfulness and being in the moment than, like you said, being on the mats, because you can't necessarily say, I wonder what I'm going to eat for dinner, boy. And then one wrong house, one axe kick coming towards it this kind of way. And you can extrapolate that to if being a surgeon, being with a patient at that point in time, and being right there, nowhere else but in the moment, and even possibly sometimes in a state of flow, to be your best self in that moment.
That is absolutely true. That's the first time I really learned what flow meant. And being in flow, I experienced that in a couple of championships, during the championships, where everything seemed to just move in a very natural way. The power came out of me, and I didn't feel that I was putting in all that amount of effort to get it out. It was literally like magic to me. And I think that's one of the moments in my karate career that really, sold me on the idea that this is something that's good for life. And with respect to the medical career, as a surgeon, you have to face many life and death situations on many occasions, and really and truly keeping a cool head, keeping focus, this, keeping your options all in front of you and making good decisions is what both karate training is about, and simply medicine as well. So I think also the fact that you learn to control your emotions through your sport. You can't, anytime you lose your cool on the mat, if you get upset, if you get too frightened, if you get too angry, anything like that will bring you out of flow, basically. And you really want to learn this skill for life. And for me, that's what karate for life is. I still train up to today, 3-4 times a week. And it's not for anything like competition by any means, but at this stage in my life, it's for health and well-being. And that's where I find a lot of energy and ability to carry on with what I have to face.
And I really like the fact that you talk about different emotions, because sometimes people talk about controlling your emotions and they're only thinking about anger, not knowing that there are other emotions, other feelings, other types of stimulus that can take you out of that place that you want to be. But in terms of that combination, how do you combine the physical aspects, so medicine, karate, what else you're dealing with, to form that, literally that person that you are? And I'm also thinking about philosophy, because if we think about Eastern philosophy, sometimes it goes a little countercurrent to Western philosophy. One person might talk about specific musculature, another person might talk about energy blockage in an area. And even like if we mix in our Caribbean kind of ethos and that, how do you navigate those points of reference?
Yeah, well, as you know, with the Eastern cultures and background to the martial arts, there are lots of very succinct sayings, things like, stabilize your emotions. You're told that from day one. This is about controlling your emotions, keeping your center. You have to know what your center is in life. Not only we teach our youngsters in the karate program, one of the things that I tell them all the time is manage your center line. And we have in martial arts, we say attack from your center line and defend your center line. And we talk a lot about center line management. And from that point of view, it extends not only in the dojo, it extends outside of the dojo. Knowing what your center is, your center of your life is very important if you're to keep balance and if you're to live with power and with purpose. And for us, bringing up young athletes, we always tell them to be careful what you become. Be careful what you become while you seek what you want. And I think that is one of our guiding principles that we try to live by.
Well, you saying that and I taking that to write down. Be careful what you become, and
as you seek what you want.
Okay, and that actually reminds me of a Bob Marley song where he asks the question, now you get what you want, do you want more? Because sometimes these things can change. But what I want to do is take a short break and then we get specifically into training, because I heard there's a new type of training. So I want to hear about that a little bit and how it differs, what are some of the benefits, and how other people can become engaged with it. So stay tuned. We are speaking with Dr. Wesley Dexter Shim. We return with more. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with Dr. Wesley Dexter Shim, and we're very happy to be talking about Pathway to the Podium. So the floor is yours, Dr. Shim. Take it away.
Yes. Well, my wife and I started the the High Performance Karate Do Center. It's a center really designed to help young people who have aspirations for competing on the world scene of karate to go forward and hopefully make podium if that is possible. We started this program in 2016. That is about 7 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. And we have now begun to make the podium on the international scene. Over the COVID period, our youngster, Mr. Samir Ali, who you see here in the picture, he actually took part in there was a online karate competition worldwide. And he came out as #1 in the world for the last 3 years. And we're very proud of him, and he's really made some great strides in his training and his development. Wonderful young man. And then last year, we took 4 athletes as part of the national team to the Commonwealth Karate Championships, which you see here. And these 4 athletes come out of the high performance program. Out of these 4 athletes, we got 1 gold, 2 silver, and 4 bronze medals. So we at the stage now that we see that our athletes and the program particularly is working very well. Our athletes seem to be developing extremely well through the program, as expected. You know, we went through a long period of growth where we planted seeds in the soil, watered it and watered it and watered it and didn't see anything. But now I think we have just reached the season where we sort of reaping a few fruits. So it's the beginning of something, and we hope that it will continue like this. So the pathway to sport and the program takes talent, hard work, and opportunity to make it to the podium. And what we see here is that this is the pathway that we used to develop our program. We said the first thing that you need is talent and some development of that talent. That is the things that you're born with, your genotype, and then the phenotype is the things that how you develop your gene pool plus your development, your whole you know, where you train and everything else that goes into development. And that becomes your phenotype. In order to do this, you have to have this high performance program, which is number 2. The high performance program is traditional karate that's taken and using the sports science of the day. We plan our training using different developments in sports science so that we can have a more efficient biometric efficient work so that biomechanics are used, efficiency of movement, and sports psychology and everything else that goes with the training, using all the latest science that's available to us. And then we have to take the program and train to the rules, because we have to know what the judges are looking for. And, you know, we can't go into a competition, and if you don't know all the rules, you will not be successful, no matter how good you are. And then hard work. In karate, we tell our students, you have to have a beginner's mind. That is the learning mindset, you know. If you have a learning mindset and you're highly motivated, then you will be able to put in the hard work necessary and you can progress quickly through the programs. Staff opportunities to get on the mat to develop your skills is crucial component, number 5. And then number 6, the most, and perhaps one of the most important things after you've developed your athlete, and that is parental support, community support, Ministry of Sport, national sporting organizations and the media play a great role. I think one of the big things that we hope to achieve now that we've started making the podium is to create more visibility on the national scene so that people could know a little bit more about karate and so on. All right, so it really, we have to get in with the media. Most of us are sort of shy, retiring types, and we tend to want to lock ourselves in the dojo. But I think now we have to really make an effort to put the athletes out there and to create opportunities for young people coming up, more opportunities for young people.
It's funny you say that because I think most are shy and retiring until, like you said, on point number 5, you're cooking on the tatami mats.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit, because when you talk about the watering and watering, it actually reminds me of bamboo seeds and the way you're looking and say, but wait, no, nothing happening here. But you have that firm belief. Is sometimes it's almost 5 years sometimes.
Yes,
Before it's
actually, a world athlete takes on average, they say 10 years to develop. And it could be as short as 5 to 10 years. Average time being 8 to 10, depending on the athlete.
And that takes me to the point of the support that you would have spoken about. There's so many persons and the circles of support around them, if you want to call them concentric or what have you, that
Yes.
are there. According to Marcus Garvey, heights of great ones reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight. But when you see this person and there's this person who's a 7-year, 5-year, 10-year overnight sensation because they've been putting in the work. It's just that you didn't know about them. So,
That's
what are some of the ways that these can be made a little easier? Because yes, you can't get around doing the work, but in terms of the support networks, what do you think are some of the ways that these can be helped?
Well, I think that what we need in Trinidad particularly, is we're looking at developing outreach program, what we call a developmental program for more athletes, to give them the opportunity to be exposed and the possibility of becoming a national athlete. I think this is one of our next steps. Now that we have a program that seems to be working and working well, our next aspect is going to be having our young athletes who reach somewhere partake in an outreach program where we can reach to communities that where youngsters would not normally have an opportunity to be exposed to this level of coaching, to this level of competing. And what we are doing, in fact, is developing the program, a 6-month program. We have it in train already. And in fact, not only for Trinidad, but we've just returned from an Easter Championships in St. Vincent, where we had six of the Caribbean countries partaking in the tournament. And at that tournament, we had meetings with all the heads of the different area countries. And we've agreed, when we look at all the youngsters there that gathered in St. Vincent, that many of them are hungry and they need more than what they're getting at this present time. And we have a couple, only about 3 or 4 top-level coaches in this sort of these English-speaking islands. The Spanish-speaking islands seem to have gone ahead and done really well in the Pan-American region, but the English-speaking continue to struggle a lot. And part of the reason is that we need this sort of development program to outreach to many more communities, many more young people who would take up the gauntlet and really think. It also fits in with all the talk of these days of, the crime situation and so on. Many people think that karate is about violence. And that's a lot to do with the media and movies, you know, the Karate Kids and these sort of things that teach young people how to be violent and this sort of business. And when you look at a lot of the movies, it's about revenge, fight. All they want to see is more and more fights, regardless of what the moral situation is, you know. And to tell you the truth, that's not my experience of what karate, true karate is about. Karate really is about something that takes time, takes effort, and it trains the individuals in so many different ways, you know, that we 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 think that this is one way to reach out to the young people and teach them some non-violence.
And in terms of that reaching out, Dr. Shim, that we have about 3 minutes more. I want to get a little more of the science in terms of how do you bring the science into it, muscles, nerves, bones, as well as how do people reach out to be a part of what it is you're doing?
Yes. Okay. Well, in terms of the science, there are three major areas that I would like just highlight that the science has added to our trainings schedules and so. The first thing is periodization. How do you periodize your training so that you get the fastest and you can peak at the right time for the right championships? That's one thing. The second thing is what we call the super compensation theory. That is a theory where you actually, if you train at the right time and with the right intervals, you can go upwards, improve. If you train at the wrong times, when you're on a downslide and you train then, and you can do what we call overtraining, and then you develop injuries, you develop demotivation and everything else, and you just damage yourself rather than help yourself. So like everything else, that is something that has impacted. I've done that in the past, overtrained my athletes, and it didn't work out too well. So now we reached the stage where we can apply this theory to our training. And finally, I think the last section is
how do we contact?
Yes, how do we contact us? You can contact my office. It's 623-5880. And you can get information through my secretary. And it's a program that we have going already. In fact, Grenada and Jamaica and Guyana has come on board with it. And we have Antiguas wanting to come on board, Barbados, and so on. And St. Lucia and St. Vincent as well. So we are moving forward with that. Hopefully within 6 months, we will be able to select more people for the national team after they go through this development program and exposure to training.
Well, I want to tee for a minute, Dr. Shim, because in terms of saying, okay, well, you have people outside of, well, in different jurisdictions, I think it's one thing to train an athlete, but what kind of program is it ready-made that the person can look at it in terms of being a coach to have someone in this system?
Absolutely. We don't take athletes by themselves. They have to have a coach with them in this program, because it's not about taking your athlete from you. If you're in a karate dojo already, we don't want you to leave your dojo to come to this thing. How we run this is that we run as technical directors that help and support the coaches within the dojos. So an athlete comes with his coach, and they then come for training once a week to be exposed to the type of training we do. And then the coaches are then given a 1-week program to execute with their athletes. And then they come back every week. And every 6 weeks, we do an assessment of how we're doing and reevaluate how we're going and whether we need to adjust the program.
I'm very glad I asked that question, but thank you very much, Dr. Shim. Looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing bigger and better things coming out of the program. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth with me. Thank you so much for tuning in.